I apparently stopped the shoot, threatened to jump into the well if Dhruv and his brother didn't get married to me as a 5-year-old.
She cracks the whip at home, so I get my revenge by cracking the whip in the studio.
Tum ghar aao, you come home, baby.
Hi everyone, welcome to midday.com Couple Goals, and we have a very special couple joining us today, Ishitta Arun and Dhruv Ghanekar. Hi guys.
Hi.
And of course, we need to start by asking about how you guys met and what was the story there.
We met when we were kids, knew each other for a very long time. Our families kind of knew each other. My mother and her aunt were in the same class in college.
It dates back to the grandfathers.
Yeah, and actually our grandfathers knew each other, even like back then. So because there was some Jaipur connection. We worked together on a film for Shyam Benegal called Trikal, where we were acting. Me and my brother were acting in the film, and her mother was acting in the film. But so Ishitta came with her mother, and then Shyam Babu just put her in the film as well. Several years passed. I worked with her mom's, produced music for her. I worked with her uncles, Piyush and Prasoon both. And while I was working on her mother's album, that's when we kind of connected as adults again. And then we just went out for dinner, and then things just kind of flew off from there, I guess. Yeah.
That's quite a long connection. I think it was destined to happen.
When we meet our friends and couples who've met like 10 years back, 15 years back, there's always a wow, 15 years. And we just kind of look at each other and smile. They're like, yeah,
I was 6, he was 11
Wow.
when we did Trikal together. And we have a legendary shot where the three of us, his brother, me, and Dhruv, are on a sofa during a party in Trikal. So we have that to show our kids. That's how Dhruv broke the ice the first time we went out for dinner as adults. Legend has it, I have no memory of this, but legend has it that I apparently stopped the shoot, threatened to jump into the well if Dhruv and his brother didn't get married to me as a 5-year-old. And now I'm thinking to myself, I wish I'd just asked for $100 billion on that well. Maybe that would have happened.
And of course, when you all reconnected as adults, so obviously there was something that you all liked about each other, and you decided to date and go ahead. So, if you'd like to tell us about that.
It wasn't kind of getting to know her. It wasn't like that at all. In fact, it was kind of like, oh yeah, hi, what's up? So it was kind of, we just kind of, I guess took off from where we left off, I guess.
The fun story is that I was supposed to buy a house that Dhruv had put on sale. We weren't dating at that time. The deal fell through for whatever reason. And I was in a place where my mom said, you have to repair this embarrassing situation. And he wouldn't take my calls.
It actually cost me a lot of money right up front.
So I had to make up stories about how I'm researching musicians for him to give me the time of day. So that he could just, break the ice, and I can tell my mom that everything is fine, he's okay. And that one thing led to the other. And so now everybody jokes that I just didn't buy the house. I married the landlord.
Deciding a house is never an easy process, of course. So did you all have common tastes, and how you wanted your first house to be after marriage?
You know how it is, buying a home in Bombay is a nightmare because you don't look at a few flats. You look, and anyone I talk to at least looks at 60, 70. So I went through the same thing. I looked at almost 80 apartments in Bandra. This was way back in 2005. And then I kind of had shortlisted 2. And I actually got in Ishitta just to because I was totally sort of torn between the 2 places. I couldn't make up my mind. I just got her in, and the minute she walked into that house, she said, this is the one. So cool. Why the hell did I waste so much time? I should have got you in right in the up front. Of course, Ishitta has a great design sense, and we kind of, complement each other because I have a good design sense, but I don't know how to execute. I'm very bad at executing. So I just throw all my ideas at her and just tell her, just go and do it. Please, just take care of it for me. She manages to kind of, execute, actually, which is the most important part.
Yeah.
All these wacky, crazy ideas. And she has some pretty whacked out ideas herself.
And of course, we also have to ask about the wedding. So, who took charge and who was the one who planned, how that would be?
Oh God, don't start
wedding.
the wedding. I'm still exhausted from that wedding.
The wedding was
It was so
actually,
long ago.
no, so the wedding,
It was a tiring wedding.
it's a tiring, no. But I think the person who took charge was my mom, because I'm the only kid. And my mom had one theory and one reasoning. She said, I've had no parties throughout my career. I've not done any sort of PR. I've not celebrated any awards. So she won Filmfare, all of that. She didn't throw any parties, didn't indulge in that. She said, this is my one and only. So she had a 7-day wedding planned. And so we had, we started with a
Party,
Western,
sort of a
jazz music.
Like a music party for my friends.
For his friends. We followed it up with Ghulam Ali Khan Saab and Javed Akhtar's
Then
evening.
my mum planned one, like a very traditional Maharashtrian evening.
Afternoon, it's like a Vyahi Bhojan where there was Lavani. And then there was...
So it was a very cultural wedding, actually.
It was.
Because
no,
we had...
missing the Sangeet. The Sangeet, we had Bappi performing, Sadhna Sargam
the
performing.
Sangeet was like a concert.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it was like a big stage in Kamala Mills, and there was like the who's who from the music business. By the way, I have no recollection of this, okay? So I don't remember anything. It was such a haze because I must have met about 1 million people that week. And after a while, these muscles start to pain from smiling, right?
And we had the wedding, and the reception was with elephants, and we don't even know what happened outside because we were getting ready up in our rooms. We had the President of India walk in.
It was a very elaborate wedding, and with a lot of very important guests, and from the film business as well as from the music business. Two big families, so kind of it was a pretty lavish and big wedding, and we were basically exhausted at the end of it.
So no, his family is a very humble, small, close-knit family. Of course, they're really big in numbers too, but the immediate family is much smaller than my immediate family. My immediate family doesn't stop at just me. There is this pandemonium of sorts because we are the Pandys. And so it was we are loud and proud. So that was the decibels, as you can imagine, were generally very elevated. We are still recovering from the wedding, but we did manage to, for the first time last year, retrieve CDs from the wedding and, make our kids see it. And they were in awe. They were like, what is this? This is a show.
अरे टॉफिक भाई ध्रुव क्या चल रहा है तक धीमी तकिट तक धीमी तकिट
तक तकिट तक तकिट तक तकिट
तक धीमी तक तकिट तक धीमी तक तकिट
तक धीमी तक धीमी
तक धीमी तक धीमी धा तक धीमी तक धीमी धा तक धीमी तू जा.
Obviously, you guys have common interest from acting to music, of course. So do you feel that also kind of helps, because it is quite, like you said, a live performance at home. So.
We use each other as a bouncing board. Over the years, we've cultivated a kind of symbiotic relationship in terms of work, where a lot of our ideas are, if he doesn't resonate with an idea that I've thrown, I go back and check it. And I would like to believe it's the other way around as well. When I came on to this relationship, I have a sea of knowledge from what my parents had given me, which is more closer to culture, Indian writing, poetry, theater. And I had that with me. But when Dhruv kind of met me and I met him, these 17 years have been just a massive opening up of eyes, where I've kind of understood so much more about world music, of great musicians, films, because I don't have that. That's not my first. I wouldn't have gravitated towards that music. In fact, I joke that in the beginning of Blue Frog, I've heard more jazz than I think in the sets, and now I know it like the back of my hand. But there were times that I would look at a solo going of a a guitar solo and just, this riffs happening which have no vocal, which is basically my upbringing has been vocal driven, murkis and शायरी and उसपे गायकी. ये यहाँ सिर्फ सोलो कर रहे हैं अपने instruments के संग. So like I was just like, what is this? So it's been a massive learning for me to be. I have grown, I would say, as a person standing on Dhruv's shoulders. I mean, I've learned. I am who I am today. Half and half. My parents and Dhruv.
क्यों तू मानी हाल तू बाजार?
Bezar.
A small difference, yeah. E and A, what difference?
No, it is a very big difference. Read it.
So I think in the last 10 years, she's definitely come into her own. And the thing with her is that she's got a lot of talent and she does a lot of things. She's, she's got a great ear for music. She's a fantastic writer in Hindi. She's also an amazing designer. So she's designed like homes and restaurants and, a lot of commercial spaces. And she is, a very, very proficient and accomplished actor.
Yeah.
So I think the bigger problem for her is choosing what to do because, and I had the same problem because, in music, there are different disciplines within music. I mean, you can be a singer, you can be an orchestrator, you can be a composer or producer, you can. So, I mean, I think I also have all these wide interests within music. So we kind of tend to, because she also has a lot of wide interests, we kind of tend to, try and find some common ground with each other and see what sticks, essentially.
Nope. Yep. Nope.
And you've also recently collaborated on Hakard. So how was that working together?
Hakard is a testimony to the fact that she spent the last 10 years, sharpening her blade and honing her craft. And now it's at a point where, I mean, she can work with anybody now and, and create amazing work. So, and in fact, I encourage her to, go out and work with other composers.
But I've been spoiled because I work with the best. No, jokes apart. I mean, it's been very frustrating working with Dhruv. Can I be really honest? Because we are also married, and he is brutally. I think he's harder on me than he would have been on any other person that he's working with. That comes when it comes to designing, or I think that's a quality I hate about him and I love about him. That he kind of brings the same precision to maybe a 10-second or a 30-second reel or a joke that we're writing for a family WhatsApp group, and he would take the same precision to a professional undertaking. And he's ruthless when it comes to giving his critique, which sometimes I don't take very well because I'm still creatively, processing things. So it gets really, really tough. But I would easily say, and this is the only time I will say it, it's on record, uske baad nahi repeat hoga, that he really does challenge me.
That's my job.
He will push back. Dhakar's
Crack the
song,
whip.
irrespective of how the movie fared, I mean, that's something that's not in our hands. But it's like the lion attacking a prey, however small or big it is. And so it's like, and also giving it at 100%. The music in itself stands alone. And when we did Dhakar, it wasn't who was in the movie, it wasn't who was doing the movie, it wasn't about whether it would be a hit or not. In that moment, did we feel the song resonate with us? And the title track, he in fact rubbished. The first time we were working on this and I tried to write some lyric, this has been going on for a year. He shot it down. He was like, I don't think you can write it. I'm going to go to somebody else. I said, okay. It's quite heated and very, very, a lot of gesticulations happen.
It's called the carrot and stick technique. It works very effectively.
If you see us in silence, there's a lot of this going on when we are working together. However, when it was strange because it was meant to be that the song had to be coming out of this this space that we're in, because the second time it happened, it just flowed. And
let me just put it this way. She cracks the whip at home. So I get my revenge by cracking the whip in the studio. It's a symbiotic relationship and it works really well.
You come home, baby.
And of course, now you also have 2 lovely daughters. So how's that, raising them? And of course, I'm sure you're also learning new things every day about parenthood.
I have 3 kids. I have 2 daughters and 1 husband. And then literally I have 3 kids. It's not, you will hear me correct and remind Dhruv more than I would do to my kids.
I'm the guy who swoons in to save the day. So the girls love me because I'm always kind of showering them with affection and I'm being the nice guy.
Please save this so that my girls can watch this 20 years later.
It'll be too late by the time they see this. But generally, I think a good cop, bad cop works. I don't want to be the bad cop in this situation. I've made it very clear, abundantly clear. I'm terrible at disciplining them, so it's not something that I take on. Except when they're doing music.
Yeah.
That's the only. So they're learning music. So and that's.
But Dhruv is very intuitive. The thing is that we've discovered these things. Firstly, we are open about criticism. So there are so many things that we are not perfect. And while parenting, there are so many things. Like I am a fearless yellow. When shit hits the ceiling, my decibels increase, and there are so many times Dhruv will tell me that you need to check that. And I hate to hear it, but like I said, if we don't correct each other, there's no growth. And it's great to see him when I didn't think that was possible, but he's instinctively attuned to how the girls might be feeling that even though I'm so close to them, I miss. And there's no comparison to any other parent. You're unique in your own way, but it's beautiful to see and acknowledge that in our silences. That's the thing. We are a big hot mess of a family, but we're also perfect in so many ways that it's just that's life.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.